Hi, this is Robert Polenic, the owner of Brutal Iron Gym. In today's workout, I'm doing a chest and back kind of superset circuit, and I thought it would be fun and hopefully helpful to share some tips and what I focus on with each exercise that I'm doing. The first exercise we're going to look at is cable flies. I do these a lot, so you're going to see them in a lot of videos. Today's variation is a little bit of a lower pulley. So the pulley is kind of a little underneath my hips. And I'm going to step out into it to counter the weight to make sure I don't fall backward. I am going to be leaning into it a little bit. That does negate a little bit of, well, not negate, but it changes the angle. So you might say, you know, what's the point of putting it low if you're going to lean into it and yada, yada, yada. I would just play with it at different heights. So I'll do cable flies from the pulley all the way at the bottom, anywhere in the middle, all the way to the top. So I change angles quite a bit, so that way I don't have to worry about, you know, if leaning into it changes a little here or there. Oh well, I do enough variety that I'll get all the angles I want. So with this one, what I'm going to focus on here is my arms are going to be slightly bent during the movement. So I get them kind of pre-bent here. So when I step into the tension, it doesn't aggravate my biceps. So I want to bend my elbows a little bit, flex my arms. I'm going to step out into the tension and then squeeze them together. And from here, I try to make sure my balance is set. And I'm going to think of keeping my arms long. There's still going to be a slight bend in my arms, but I want my hands to kind of come in a sweep across the front of my chest. So I don't want to press and have my elbows bend and then press. My elbows at the back end here at the stretch are still going to be that same angle that they would be when I come out. So I'm looking for 10 reps today where I'm going to come out and have the handles touch and have that little bit of a pause so I can actually flex my chest. So I'm not flexing my chest or just holding the handles here passively. I want to actually come together and try to squeeze and flex on every rep. So squeeze, good. So I'll be doing that for sets of 10. And again, those are the concepts I'm looking for, is a slight arm bend. So that way I don't overstretch my bicep tendon. And I want to keep that slight arm bend constant the whole movement. So that way I'm as isolated in my chest. So my front shoulder, my tricep can't help as much. So this is a really good movement that I'll be doing right before chest presses. Exercise number 2 is going to be dumbbell chest presses. So what you'll see with this is that I'm doing a pause at the bottom. I want to come down and pause where I'm still muscularly active. So I'm actually trying to hold that position, not actually relax into the stretch. So I want to keep some muscle tension so it stays as a chest stretch, not just a connective tissue stretch. I want the muscle to be responsible for that position. And then I'm going to be flexing and squeezing back up to the top. So this is constant tension on the chest. We're going to pause for about 3 counts. So 1, 2, 3, and then I'll squeeze back up to the top and come right back down. I like doing this pause variation because it adds more chest intensity. So I'm actually getting chest growth. It will limit the amount of weight that I use. So every once in a while, I'll just kind of do chest presses first. Let my momentum kind of be involved, be more of a rhythm kind of repetition, and I'll focus on heavier weights. But on a workout like today, I actually want to create the muscle tissue damage, but a little bit of a lighter weight load, because this is actually the second workout of the week. So I don't want to overload the joints too much. I want to get the muscle damage I need, but I don't want to beat the crap out of myself. So I'll be doing these here. So this is going to be a paused dumbbell deadlift. And again, a 3-count pause to the bottom with a muscular control and flex and squeeze on the way up. The third exercise in the circuit is going to be kettlebell shrugs. I have these heavy kettlebells. I don't even know how much they weigh. What are they, 70 pounds? So there's 70 pounds, and I'll be doing a shrug. Now, looking with this shrug, I'm going to lean into it a little bit, and I'm going to want to kind of pull my shoulders up and back. So I'll show you facing this way so I'm talking to the microphone. But I want to lean into it a little bit, and I'm going to be pulling my shoulders up and back, and I will let my arms bend because I want to try to get as much height as I can. If I keep my arms kind of straight, as I would pull up, my hands would kind of flare outward, and that's going to limit how much weight I can use. So if I think of the weight being heavy enough that it's going to force a vertical pattern, my elbows do have to bend a little bit in order for my traps to get fully squeezed, and that's okay. So I'm still using my traps, not my biceps. So you wouldn't want to bend your arms to where your shoulders are staying still and you're just kind of moving with your arms. You do want to make sure the shoulders are moving. So again, I'll have that little bit of a forward angle and pulling up and back. And this is going to help be a good overload into the upper kind of middle traps. And then you'll see I'm doing a one-arm cable row to finish. And that's going to kind of hit that middle and lower trap as well as the lat and the rear delt. So it's kind of like the complement between the kettlebell shrugs and that movement. Okay, the fourth and final exercise of the circuit is going to be a standing row, a one-arm row. I'm going to be doing it in a special way off this Sorenex Apex rack that I have, but you can be doing it with anything that's chest supported. So I'm going to be using my hand support on this railing. I'm going to grab the cable and I'm going to step out, but I actually want to have my feet behind me to where I'm leaning into that support arm a little bit. If I were to move my arm or take my arm away, I'd fall over. I like that because as I'm pulling, as I struggle, I still have to stay pretty strict because I can't use my hips. Whereas if I was upright like this, I can start to sway and get a lot more upper body movement. So if my feet are behind me a little bit, that forces it to be a much stricter movement even when I'm struggling. So with this, I want to let my shoulder extend forward at the full extension, the stretch. And then I'm kind of squeezing my shoulder back, and then my elbow would bend. So I'm not initiating with my arm bending. I'm initiating by pulling my shoulder back and then trying to drive my elbow behind me. So stretch, shoulder, drive. Stretch, shoulder, drive. Now that movement is going to be great for complementing the shrugs because it hits the middle and lower traps as well as the lats, as well as the rear delts. So it's a nice complement to what the shrugs don't get. So it helps complete that full kind of upper back development. So these are the 4 movements I'm going to be doing rounds of. I'll typically do 3 to 4 light rounds as my warm-ups, and then look for 3 to 5 harder, heavier rounds. In today's workout, I'm going to be going for pretty much 10 reps of everything. It's a good time under tension range for growth, and also to have minimal impact on the joints, since this is the second workout of the week for these muscle groups. The first workout of the week, I'd typically go heavier, even down to like 5 reps if I wanted to, even though I'm doing growth. It's just a nice shock on the muscle, get that shear force damage. Whereas on the second workout of the week, I'm just looking to kind of re-annoy the tissues. I'm not looking to create the initial damage of the week that's already been done. I'm just trying to let the body say, hey, you know, these muscles, I'm going to beat them up a little bit more, add a little more muscle to them. Just gets that little bit of extra stimulus of growth. So the second workout of the week, I typically don't do overly aggressive. I'm more joint friendly, more circuit creative structure or isolatives and pre-exhaustion, stuff like that. So you're just trying to kind of re-annoy the tissues on that second workout, whereas the first one you're trying to actually mess some stuff up. That's the one you go a little harder and heavier on. Here is my last working set for the dumbbell chest presses. And again, you'll see the main focus is going to be a pause at the bottom, but I'm staying muscularly tight. I don't want to just let the muscles relax into that stretch. So I'm focusing on squeezing between my shoulder blades and flexing my chest and holding that weight nice and stable. And then I'll flex and squeeze the chest to drive it back up. Pressing in this manner does take away your top end strength, but it significantly increases the focus on the chest and can create a greater amount of chest stress, which helps towards the goal of chest growth. It's often a good idea to mix heavy, more rhythmic repetitions to work on general strength development, as well as these slower, more controlled repetitions, so that way you can take a little bit of ease on the joints and focus on that muscle damage. Then here is my last working set of one arm cable rows. Now this is actually going to be quite a long part of the video because I'm doing a drop set on each arm. I set the weight, I believe, at 160 pounds. Now these cables are a 2-to-1 ratio, so you're actually only feeling about half that. I'm doing a set of 10, and then I'm going to step forward, drop the weight down to 120, do another set of 10, then drop the weight down to 90 pounds, and finish with a last set of 10. I really like adding drop sets or some type of intensity technique to the end of the workout. It's a great way to be patient in the beginning of the workout, really focus on quality of technique and quality of the movements, knowing that at the end, if you feel like you have a little more energy left to give, or there's a little bit more space left before the muscles are fully exhausted, you can add a technique such as drop sets or things like rest pause, cluster sets. There's a lot of techniques you can use to kind of burn up the energy at the end. And that is one of my favorite things to do, so that way I don't feel concerned or worried or rushed to get into the heavier aggressive work at the beginning of the workout, and then all of a sudden I lose the volume because I can't finish the workout with a proper intensity. So I'd rather start slow and end more aggressive, as that's a better way to ensure I get the volume, ensure I get good quality technique, and it often saves you from injury because you can keep everything nice and crisp and clean throughout the majority of the workout. And then at the very end, you challenge yourself a little bit, but you're in less of a fatigued state than if you were to have exhausted yourself early in the workout and still try to like milk out more volume by the end. So this is one of my favorite techniques, is the drop set. I tend to do a drop set more on the second workout of the week for a body part when I know my connective tissues are already stressed. Whereas in the first workout of the week, I'll use something like rest pause, which is where you would stay at the top weight. You might just pause for 5 to 10 seconds and then keep going with that top end weight. It's more aggressive on the connective tissue and joints because you stay at the heavier weight load for longer, but that would make sense and be okay at the beginning of the week when the muscles and the joints are more fresh. So understanding the pros and cons of intensity techniques is very helpful to allow you to maximize not only the intensity but the quality of your workouts. Hopefully today's information helped. Give these exercises a try if you have the equipment, and hopefully you'll keep in mind these techniques and tips. If you have anything you want to see in future videos, just let me know. You can shoot us an email at brutalirongym@gmail.com, or check out our website and you can send us a message from there. The website is www.brutalirongym.com, and on there we also have our podcast player and do a free podcast every day. We have over 1,900 episodes, so there's a ton of information for nutrition, training, mindset, and listener Q&A. So if you have any questions, anything you want to hear on the podcast, you can let us know that on the website as well. Okay, hopefully this video helped, and thank you for watching.